Pallets and Promises. A warehouse worker's epic true comeback. The morning shift buzzer hit like a siren through concrete and dust. Andre stood by Dock 7 with a scanner in one hand and a lab printout in the other. Hypertension, creeping A1C, resting heart rate that read like a sprint he didn't run. 35, forklift certified, king of overtime, emperor of vending machine dinners. The break room TV yelled about someone else's highlight reel while he wrote 5 words on the back of a packing slip and read them under humming fluorescent lights like a contract. I keep hard promises to myself. Underneath, smaller and sharper. No drama. Only evidence. He folded the slip into his wallet where the photo of his daughter lived, drained a bottle of water, and walked out to the loading lane where cold air smelled like work. The day didn't care who he'd been. The barcode would still scan. But the plan would, if he fed it. He set his phone to airplane mode, laced his shoes tighter, and gave the morning a new job description. Day 1 refused the montage because failure loves grand openings. Andre took a 10-minute loop along the chain link and back, palms open, jaw loose, breath in through the nose and out like fog on glass until steps and lungs shook hands. In the shadow of stacked pallets, he built a small circuit that touched every pattern without waking every old ache. Sit to stands to a safe height pallet with a loaded tote for counterbalance. Incline push-ups on the dock rail, elbows tucked, ribs stacked. One-arm suitcase rose with a case of bottled water to wake his lats and unroll his keyboard slouch. Suitcase carries down a painted lane with 2 light boxes. Ribs zipped, eyes on the far bay. A careful forearm plank on a clean mat, glutes lightly on, slow exhale. 2 clean reps left in the tank on every move, always. He filmed one set with his phone propped against a steel toe, winced at flared ribs, and wrote 2 cues on packing tape stuck inside his locker. Exhale to stack. Knees track toes. He logged baselines in a 50-cent notebook, waist at the navel, a relaxed mile walk time, resting heart rate after 3 seated minutes, and closed with the line that would matter more than motivation. Showed up. Not perfect. Proud. Structure turned an oath into logistics, and logistics into traction. Andre blocked 3 45-minute training windows like dock appointments you never bump. Monday dawn before punch-in, Wednesday lunch when freight ebbed, Saturday morning before grocery runs and cartoons. The split stayed brutally simple. 3 full-body sessions that hit the 6 patterns he'd need forever. Squat or lunge, hinge, push, pull, carry, and core. Warm-up was 5 minutes he could always afford. Brisk walk or incline treadmill at the community center, 15-20 band pull-aparts, 2 easy ramp sets for the first lift. The progression ladder lived where excuses died. Week 1, 3A8 week 2, 3-9 week 3, 3-10. Technique was leverage, not mystique. 5 cues fixed 80% of what went wrong and made weight feel honest. For squats and lunges, root a tripod foot, big toe, little toe, heel, stack ribs over pelvis, let knees track over toes, drive the floor away like sliding a pallet jack under a stubborn skid. For hinges and deadlifts, crack a walnut in your armpits to lock lats, push hips back like closing the trailer with a hip bump, keep the load close, long neutral spine, finish with hips through, not a lower back yank. For pressing, screw hands into the floor or bar, elbows around 45 degrees on push-ups and bench, biceps by ears overhead, brace before you press. For pulling, chest proud, shoulders down and back, elbows toward hip pockets, brief pause and squeeze. For carries and core, zip the ribs, walk tall, no swaying. Let the midline earn its paycheck. He filmed 1 set per main lift weekly, fixed 1 thing at a time, and ended sets the second the last rep got messy. Strong stopped being a number he bragged about and became a shape he could repeat when nobody clapped. Cardio changed jobs, from punishment to engine, and from noise to nervous system anesthesia. The 2+1 rule slid between shifts. 2 Zone 2 sessions and 1 short interval day. Zone 2 lived at a conversational pace. 25 to 40 minutes of fast walking around the complex, easy cycling on a battered gym bike, sometimes a light jog on the high school track, where full sentences stayed easy and heart rate lived in the friendly middle. Intervals were joint kind and precise. 8 rounds of 20 seconds smooth hard on a bike with 100 seconds easy, fenced by a 5-minute warm-up and cool down. The quiet MVP was neat. non-exercise activity, stacked like labels. Walking calls, parking at the far fence, stairs when hands were empty, a 10-minute loop after meals to flatten glucose spikes. Steps slid from 6 to 8 to 10,000 most days without turning into a second job. When fat loss stalled, he added 15 minutes of zone 2 or tightened weekend drift before he tried to staple gun on more intensity. Engines are built in hours the algorithm never notices. Food decided whether the mirror kept up with the work. Andre didn't need magic. He needed a Lunch-Pail System that survived forklifts, clockouts, and a line at the microwave. Calories started at goal-based math, body weight in pounds, x12 for loss, x14 for maintenance, and only moved after 2 honest weeks of trend. Not one loud weigh-in after Pizza Friday. Protein turned non-negotiable at 0.81.0 g per pound of goal body weight split across 3 to 4 meals. Plates followed the plate method because pictures beat willpower. Half produce, a palm of lean protein, a cupped hand of fiber-rich carbs, a thumb of healthy fats. Breakfasts had 3 autopilots: Greek yogurt with whey and berries, eggs with oats and fruit, cottage cheese with pineapple and toast. Lunches were assembly only at the break table: pre-cooked chicken or tofu, microwave rice, bagged salad, olive oil and lemon in a squeeze bottle. Fruit that forgave delays. Dinners rotated salmon with potatoes and broccoli, turkey chili with beans and rice, one-pan stir-fry with frozen veg and sliced flank steak. 2 to 3 liters of water lived in a marked bottle. A pinch of salt after sweaty shifts kept headaches from staging a coup. Eating out got a script. Lead with protein, swap fries for potatoes or greens, sauces on the side, water before the entree. Cravings met a bridge snack: yogurt, berries, a few dark chocolate chips, then lights out on purpose. Supplements stayed optional and basic. Whey for convenience, creatine monohydrate 3 to 5 g daily, caffeine if tolerated. 95% of progress came from plates he'd actually repeat on tired Tuesdays. Recovery turned effort into results and made overtime survivable. Sleep was not a prize, it was a tool. He built a cave out of a small apartment, blackout curtains, a fan that hummed like the warehouse HVAC, phone charging in the kitchen so alarms didn't become scrolls. A landing strip landed his nervous system after noisy days. Lights low, a warm shower, 10 pages of paperback, 2 minutes of slow exhale breathing. A 5-minute mobility loop unfroze tight hips and scolded erectors before they wrote tomorrow. Script, couch stretch, thoracic opener over a rolled towel, ankle rocks at the wall, 3 slow, world's greatest reps. Every 6th to 8th week, he planned a deload. Trim total sets by 30-40%, sharpen technique, leave the gym with caged energy, because you can't sprint a marathon and call it health. Pain got a framework, not a panic. At 3 out of 10 discomfort, reduce load and keep the pattern. At 4 to 5, change the variation. At 6 or sharp pain, stop, walk, reassess. Longevity beats bravado when there's another pallet tomorrow at 6 a.m. Setbacks arrived like late trucks, loud, unplanned, and not asking permission. A broken conveyor ate his lunch window. A double shift flattened a Saturday. A knee grumbled at the bottom of a rushed lunge. Old Andre would have thrown the week away. The Andre with a packing slip oath shrank the plan without surrendering it. 10 focused minutes beside Bay 12. Goblet squats to a pallet. Incline push-ups on the rail. Rows with a case of paper. A slow plank. Until the timer sang. Back squats became goblets to a box when knees hissed. Presses went neutral grip when shoulders sulked. Eccentrics slowed until positions were his again. A resistance band lived in his locker. 3 sets of pull-aparts happened before long scanner shifts. The fridge wore a tiny 4-box grid. Training, protein, steps, sleep, and a real pen made streaks too valuable to break. 3 identity lines went onto tape inside the locker. I train on busy days. I choose protein. I never miss twice. Cheesy? Maybe. Effective? Absolutely. Momentum showed up before the mirror admitted it. The belt needed a new hole. Stairs to the mezzanine stopped taxing lungs like debt. Push-ups doubled. Plank time breezed past a minute, and deadlifts felt like a handshake with gravity instead of a dare. He circled 2 dates on the break room calendar in red. The company's charity stair climb at the Civic Center, and 6 weeks later, A community strength morning with a novice deadlift and farmer carry medley. Training tilted without turning circus. Zone 2 found hills. Weekend rucks put water bottles in a backpack. Carries ended every lift day, posture glued into habits. Deadlift stayed at 1 to 2 reps in reserve. Bar close, lats on, hips through, back neutral. He rehearsed event mornings like shift change, conservative warm-ups, chalk routine, breath on the pick, eyes on the landing, mantra ready, own the setup, the rep will follow. He practiced sleeping on purpose the night before instead of scrolling into midnight pretending it was rest. The stair climb smelled like wet concrete and fresh paint. He started slower than pride requested, shoulders soft, breath through the nose. At the landing where he used to pretend he was checking messages, the old voice offered later. He lengthened his exhale and kept moving. He didn't sprint the finish. He arrived steady, lungs loud but obedient, a quiet grin he hadn't met in years. 6 weeks later, under gulls and chalk dust, he pulled a clean opener, then an honest second, then a tiny PR that felt less like conquering iron and more like laying down an old story. The carry wobbled on the first turn, then straightened. He walked tall with chalk on his palms, and 4 co-workers yelling his name like a promise he could keep. 90 days from the packing slip vow, the lab printout read like a different person's mail. Blood pressure inside the lines, resting heart rate down, waist -3 inches, fasting glucose trending quiet. The barcode still beeped, the bay doors still rattled, but his body stopped arguing about whether he belonged in his own life. This is the handoff, because a story is a blueprint if you let it be. Write your reason on paper you can touch and tape it where excuses live. Locker door, fridge, dashboard. Block 3 45-minute windows and defend them like clock-in times. Choose the simple rhythm that hits squat, hinge, push, pull, carry, and core. And leave 1 to 2 clean reps in reserve so you can come back tomorrow. Walk where sentences stay easy. Sprint short on a bike when you can. Collect steps like spare change all day. Build protein-anchored plates you'll repeat during chaos. Hydrate like your next hour depends on it. Make a bedroom cave and land your nervous system on purpose. Film 1 set, fix 1 cue, repeat next week. When a day explodes, shrink the plan. When a week wobbles, never miss twice. The dock buzzer will still scream tomorrow. Let it. You'll meet it with a body that answers back. Evidence will stack, then momentum, then a life that fits the work without breaking the person who does it.